In our previous video, we learned about how the Agentic Runtime Authority ensures AI agents hold zero credentials, provides real-time, intent-aware authorization, and offers full traceability and logging of all actions performed by the agent on the target system from prompt to action. Now we will demonstrate how to configure Akeyless Agentic Runtime Authority in a user environment. Our example will include OIDC authentication and a MySQL database. However, Akeyless supports various authentication methods and applications, including databases, clouds, AI, Kubernetes, certificate automation, infrastructure tools, and more. In this guide, we will configure the Agentic Runtime Authority as follows. Create a new Akeyless account, deploy the Akeyless Gateway, create an OIDC auth method and access role, create a dynamic secret for our MySQL database and add guardrail policies, connect Akeyless MCP to Claude, but any LLM would work, and we will end by prompting Claude to access the database for sensitive data. To start, let's create a new account. Go to console.akeyless.io and click the Sign Up link at the top. Enter your email address and click the Let's Get Started button. Then add your info and click Let's Get Started. Check your email inbox for an email from us and click on the Activate Your Account button. You will be brought back to your web browser and be asked to create a password. Click the Let's Get Started button, add a few more details, and click Create Account. Once done, you will now have access to your Akeyless account. Note that you are the admin of this account. The first thing to do is go to the Account Settings page by clicking on the initial in the top right corner. Go to Account Settings, scroll to the bottom of the page, and toggle on the AI Insights feature. You can see the feature is now enabled in the account. Next, let's deploy the gateway. This gateway is crucial to the runtime authority, as the gateway is where all prompts will be checked before being sent to the LLM, and all the output data from the LLM will be checked before being delivered back to the user. To deploy the gateway, we first need to install the Akeyless CLI. We are using macOS for this demo. Open your terminal and install the CLI with the relevant commands for your operating system. You can find all installation options in the docs. When you run the last command, you will be asked if you want to create a profile for your account. Type Y and then hit Enter. Hit Enter again to set this as the default profile. Type 6 and hit Enter, and you will be asked to enter the email address and password that you used for the initial account setup. Lastly, answer Y to any questions asked, and run any other commands to complete the install if asked. Once done, your default Akeyless profile will be configured, and any interaction with your Akeyless account will use this profile's credentials. To confirm your credentials were entered correctly, type in the command Akeyless list items, and you should see some output. If you do, you are ready to continue. The next step is to install the actual gateway on Docker, which we will do with a simple command. Ensure you have Docker installed on your machine, and run the following command in the terminal. Note the two environment variables, email and password, that are injected as well. The password is being taken from an environment variable set in the terminal. This command will create a new Docker container with the gateway installed. Once installed, go back to the account and click the Gateways tab to see your gateway running. In order for the agent to authenticate to the gateway, we need an authentication method. In this demo, we will use Azure's Entra ID OIDC, which will authenticate the agent on behalf of a human user who will be using Claude to query the database. The agent's access is then tied to the real person who triggered it through the existing IDP, with the same MFA and group policies you already enforce. From your account, go to Users and Auth Methods in the left side menu and click the New button. Choose OIDC and click Next. Give it a name and choose a location. Click Next and add the issuer URL, client ID, and client secret, as well as the unique identifier. In this case, our unique identifier is groups. Click Finish, and you now have the authentication method created. Now that we have an authentication method for our agent, Let's give it the permissions it needs to access resources in Akeyless. In this case, we will create a specific role just for the agent, and we will only give it access to the Akeyless Runtime Authority. It will not have any access to secrets within the account. To do this, click on Access Roles in the left side menu and click New. Give it a name and location and click Next. Click Associate and choose the authentication method from the dropdown. Add the group's subclaim with the group ID from Entra and click Add, then Next. Now we will add the rules for this access role. Here is where you could give read access to secrets, but Akeyless has a purpose-built rule for this use case. Click Add, and in the Type dropdown, choose Agentic Runtime Authority. We will also choose the access path where this authentication method has access inside the account. In this case, the RTA folder, where our database secret will be held. For permissions, choose Allow Access, and then click Add and Next. Click Next and Next to skip the next pages, and then Finish. The next thing we need is a target for our database access. Targets hold login credentials for the resources being accessed. To do this, go to Targets in the left side menu, click New, choose the MySQL option, and click Next. Give it a name and location, and click Next. Add the DB username and password, hostname, port, and DB name, then click Finish. We now need to create a dynamic secret that will be used along with the target to connect to the database. To create it, go to Items in the left side menu, click New, and choose Dynamic Secret, then MySQL, and click Next. Add a name and location. Then choose the target you created from the dropdown. Scroll down to the Gateway field, choose Default Cluster, then click Finish. Next, let's set the rules for what the LLM can access inside the database. Inside the Dynamic Secret on the right-hand side, click on the Agentic Runtime Authority tab and toggle it on to enable. Then add some input rules in plain English, such as a rule to give the agent read-only access to the database and a rule to block its access to the salary column. We will also add an output rule to only give us email addresses masked. We now have a gateway, authentication method, and access role for the agent. We also have the database with a dynamic secret and target, which will enable the LLM to connect to the database without handling any secrets. Now we need to configure the LLM side. Our next step is to create a new target for our LLM. This is what gives the gateway something to call when it needs to classify a request's intent and evaluate your input and output rules. For this, you will need an API key from either OpenAI or Google. For this demo, we will use a Gemini key with the Gemini 3.5 Flash model. Make sure you have your API key before continuing. Go back to Targets in the left side menu, click New, choose Gemini, and click Next. Add name and location, click Next. Add your API key, and click Finish. Next, go to Gateways in the left side menu. Click Default Cluster, then the Manage Gateway button. Click on AI Insights, and then toggle on the AI Insights option to enable it. Add the target from the dropdown and choose the model name, then click Save. You can now go back to the left side menu and click Agentic Runtime Authority under Products, and you will see the dashboard. This will log your usage. Now we need to connect the Akeyless MCP to Claude Desktop. Install Claude Desktop, open it, click your name at the bottom left and choose Settings, then Developer, then click Edit Config. It will open the Claude folder, and you will find the Claude Desktop config.json file. Edit it, add the following block, and save the file. The final file should look something like this. Save the file and close Claude Desktop. We now need to ensure that our default profile in the CLI is set to our Entra ID authentication method. We will run the Akeyless configure command for this. Go to Users and Auth Methods. Find your authentication method and copy the ID. Go back to the terminal and run the Akeyless configure command with that ID. Then run the Akeyless auth command to authenticate. You will be brought to Entra to authenticate, and then you will see a success screen. Now that we have everything configured, let's run some prompts in Claude. Claude has no access to our database credentials. Instead, it uses the Akeyless MCP connector to dynamically query our MySQL instance. Inside the Agentic Runtime Authority, we see that our guardrails enable Claude read-only permissions and deny access to salaries, as well as forcing email address output to be masked. Let's ask Claude to show us everything it has access to inside Akeyless. We see it can only access the MySQL database secret. Now let's ask it to show us all the data inside the MySQL employees table. The Agentic Runtime Authority instantly intercepts the request at runtime, forcing the LLM to comply with our guardrails and defining what it has access to in the table. It therefore only outputs data it is allowed to access. Let's remove the policy on salaries from within the Agentic Runtime Authority. We can now go back and prompt Claude for all the data in the table, and it will give us the complete output. Going back to Akeyless, we can also see the Agentic Runtime Authority logs and check the traceability of each session. By clicking on the three dots and then Forensic Traceability, you can see we have a request for this session that was blocked, and then 3 requests that were approved, as well as the actual database queries from the LLM. This is essential to ensuring policy controls for secure agent execution. Thanks for watching.